and that's going to
Okay, so we're back. That's fine. Just keep going because they have to build the
curl,
audience.
and we'll
So
get into
we're
the
back.
icing.
Technology
You could also
sucks,
wet set your
especially
hair
when
to
you're
make anything else you wanted.
in the middle of a field.
Nope.
And
So you would do.
I'm not really sure what's going on, but anyway, we're gonna go on the iPad now. So
So you would take your
we'll try
hair
this again.
And, you would do a
And
really tiny
sorry about that,
curl
guys.
like so, and do it all the way up. And
It's
then
gonna be a
put
little more
the
shaky because now I don't have a
around
stand
it.
to hold the iPad. So
And then
we'll. Oh, she's going over a
So would you
Pablo
roll
curl.
the hair around anything, or would you just do it with your fingers like that?
you do it with your fingers and you would flatten it.
Now remember,
So you would
like
want
you
that curl
would
to be
have your
flat.
paper in between that.
And
So
then
don't do that without
Yeah,
your
don't do
papers.
this without any
long.
paper. Yeah,
Oh my
but the wet set really does work a little bit better if you use the pomatum, and because that pomade it just helps it to keep in that curl, and it has wax as well, so that's going to hold it in place.
How would they get the wax out of their hair?
You just wash it. It
Really?
washes
It
out
comes
like
out?
normal.
Really?
Well, I mean, conditioners now have silicone in it, so I mean you can get worse things out using. This is hair powder, so that's the next step. When you do powder and pomatum, it actually volumizes your hair and it acts as a dry shampoo.
So I promise we'll like do this. We're kind of waiting to get everybody back here.
This is the LBCC.
So that's why we're just kind of letting Amber go. This is what happens on Kids Days. It's just all day long, and we found out if we don't actually rip off the apothecary, as much as we love kids, because I do love kids, it's just a disaster, as many of you can imagine. So yeah, we talk a lot about like what happens in an apothecary and you know, like why we would have cosmetics in the apothecary. And for those of you who don't know, cosmetics were medicine in the 18th century, so that's why apothecaries carry them. For the kids, an interesting little concept is we've asked them if they know what an apothecary is. They say no. And then we say, have you guys ever been to a Walgreens? And they're like, yes. And they were like, well, that's kind of like an apothecary. Like, you can get your medicines, and you know, you can get teas and stuff like that. So there's a.
Do you need a card?
Here, right here. We got stuffs.
Okay.
We got stuffs.
So
Okay.
you can check her out, or if you come tomorrow, we'll actually be selling things.
Yeah, we will be open. Okay,
So it
so
should be healthier for you since it's natural.
Yeah.
Does she do any like actual foundation type things too? Or
There are a couple of face paints, but really those are more to make your skin look whiter. It's not going to be like our
not like tinted, I guess. if
right.
that's
They're
the
not
question.
tinted,
Yeah.
unless they're white. But she does have some really nice face powders that make your skin look smoother because it's powder. It's nice for that. So she does have face care, and she has acne stuff and washes and stuff.
And if you're not used to like natural, well, even historical, historical cosmetics are very, very different than anything you could pick up in the store today. So it takes a little bit to get used to them. But we have a lot of customers that aren't just into living history, that are just into natural, you know, want to live better. And they say that once they switch, they don't go back. So, yeah. So Amber, should we start? Is that okay?
Yeah. So I don't
All right.
know where we left off, and
You're gonna powder your hair because so she took all her rolls out.
Yep.
And she's gonna powder your hair. And if you guys have questions, just feel free to ask the questions, and we'll.
Yep. Right now I'm cleaning up just so I have a little bit of sanity left.
LBCC. Yep. Yep.
And
Okay.
I'm
So
gonna put
I
that
promise I will try and be as non-jerky as possible.
Okay.
Powder. I didn't grab a shaker. Oh, there's a shaker. Do you need a shaker?
I can use the powder puff.
Okay.
I just wanted to clean things up. So yeah, if you're just now joining us, this is the 1790s Hedgehog do. I took my hair out of all these tiny little curls, and if you go to the live feed video from before, I explain a little bit more in detail about what these are, how they work, and how I got my hair to look like this when it is this long. So the next stage of this whole do is powder. I might need Alicia's help for it because I do have so much hair.
That's fine.
But my hair has a little bit of pomatum in it, and that's going to help the powder to stick. And yeah, so These powder puffs are made of wool, correct? And Alicia has quite a few different kinds that you can buy here in the shop. Some with handles, some with little bows, and
we make them, so I know like we have a hard time keeping them in stock.
Okay.
But we do have a few with handles in the shop right now, and we will be getting some with bows. I promise. I know, like I keep saying that, guys, but we try hard. Like we're really busy.
But what's really cool about it is because wool is a very coarse fiber, it actually holds on to that powder, and it makes your application a little bit easier. If you use a shaker, it requires using a boar bristle brush to actually brush that powder through it and make it look even. Because if you have a shaker, you either have a sieve type of covering on it, or it's just a bunch of holes. So you get like little tiny dots all over it, like powdered sugar. But, so yeah, let's start with the powder. This is always scary. So when you're doing powder, I have noticed that a lot of people in using powder do it a little bit too heavy at the beginning, and it's not brushed out properly, so you get a very streaky application and a lot of powder along the top of the forehead. How I combat that is that I do it very slowly and very lightly over and over and over again to get the color that I want. You'll see that my hair kind of turns a blue color because it's so dark, and when you put white on it, that blue cast comes through, which was a really popular kind of fun thing to do. Alicia does, oh, here's a shaker.
Yeah,
so you can see the shaker, it's got a bunch of holes in the top, and that would give your hair, if you didn't brush it out very well, like a very dotty, spotty look with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and start and talk while I'm applying. So
we'll get some close-ups too, so people can kind of.
So when you do the powder,
and this is just regular white powder. This is kind of a combination of various starches that we use. I honestly can't remember. I may have put some dried bones in there. I can't remember.
Why did they do that? I still don't really understand why they put the powder in.
When you aren't washing your hair on a daily basis like we do today, you build up a lot of oil.
Okay.
But we today actually have more oil buildup than they did back then, and the reason is because with our new shampoos, we're stripping all of that oil away. So our scalp is like, oh no, you need this oil, and it gives a lot of it out at once. I typically wash my hair every 4 to 5 days, and I don't have an issue with oil until about the 5th day. So if you delay that, if you get through the first couple weeks of kind of grody hair, your hair will start to slow down its oil production. But this acts as a dry shampoo. So I'm sure all of you have seen dry shampoo. It's a wonderful product. If you need some volume out of nowhere, getting dry shampoo works really well to get the root, because it texturizes everything and gives it a little bit more oomph. This is the same thing if used with the pomatum. So what I'm doing right now is putting this powder in it.
And so for those of you, especially with like the color powders that we have, because I know we've gotten a couple questions lately, let's say you bought like the blue powder or the pink powder, you're going to need your pomatum to make that powder stick, especially with the color in there. And you need to really work the color over really well just to get color, because most of us do not have white hair. Powdering and turning your hair white is actually a myth, like unless you actually have white hair or have a wig. You know, your color is not going to be as bright as it would if everything was pure white. So you really need to work it in. Don't assume you're going to get like an awesome color the first time you guys use it. You have to kind of build color up.
The other thing that I've noticed is that when you're using the colored powders, sometimes it's better to do a light dusting of white and then use the colored powder over top of it to give it more of a cast. My mom has blonde highlights. Her hair is almost as dark as mine, but she has blonde highlights in her hair, and she used the pink, or we used the pink on her, and it actually made her hair turn red. Right. So it looked bright red, and it looked really cool. But it was kind of shocking at how red it can be. So if you don't want that intense color, if your hair is lighter, you'll need to do a really light dusting of white and then put that color over top of it. It didn't stain her hair, like it didn't color her hair permanently. but and it washed out very easily, but she said it looked like she had sacrificed something in the tub. So
yeah, I can definitely see that. So now, like, you may have seen the really awesome powdering that Colonial Williamsburg recently did with their pink powder. They used cochineal to do that, and it was on a white wig, so it would be a lot brighter. Now, for us to make a cochineal powder, it would be ridiculously expensive, and you would have to have either white hair or a white wig to apply it to make it look that bubblegum pink that you saw. It was very, very cool. It just would be a very expensive product for us to reproduce for you guys. So you can see how well those powder puffs really grab, and it's really important here that Amber gets a really good coating of powder, and she's kind of working it into the ends.
So I've done it only on the one side. We've not, right now it's just kind of sitting on top of all of the curls. You'll see when we do this part of my hair, because this part has no pomatum in it, for the back ponytail, we'll have to pomade and powder it. It will double, if not triple in size, because that powder latches onto the follicle, and if all the follicles have powder over them, it just makes it all really big.
Right.
So, if you notice, the way that I'm applying this is not dumping it on. I don't like sprinkling it on my hair. And if I do have to sprinkle it, I only do it when my hair is straight, like this, or in very large barrel curls. And that's because to get an even application, you have to brush it through. So with this type of curl, you can't actually get a brush through it, or else it's gonna kill all that curl.
Right.
So anyway, what I do is I get a very, very light bit. You can see, I don't know if you can.
I don't know if
there's no powder here, and just a little powder right there. And I start by being
lightly
a
dusted.
little bit away from it, actually just shaking it to where it just slowly shakes onto my head, and then I pat it into it. And that's getting a much more even application than I've seen in some movies. I won't mention any particular one.
Well, as
but
we all know, like,
streaky.
historical movies are really great, but we have to kind of take them with a grain of salt usually
Right.
when it comes to costuming and hair. And for some of us historical people, we find that difficult sometimes.
Yeah, you have to turn off that part of your brain.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of walk back here, and we're just gonna kind of have some up close shots of what Amber's doing. And you know, this takes a while, guys. So it's not like, you know, today we just kind of throw our hair up for the most part. Historically, it's not like that, and that's why you have the toilette. It was the woman's time. Like, she got to sit, you know, have some friends over maybe, or have her time, have me time, and that was really important in the 18th century. And you know, taking your time to look your best. So it's a little different now with our hurry society, where we're always like rush, 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 and we just, when we're doing, you know, 18th century cosmetics or hair care, or even in matters of dress, we need to take that time to remember to take our time with it, and you know, let's not hurry.
So you can see also that when you have really, really dark hair, I get sad because I'll put my hair up in these very intricate, beautiful hairstyles, and then you can't see it just because it's this big black mass of hair, and it's all very shiny. So it doesn't usually show up like blonde hair does, because blonde hair usually has a bunch of different colors in it. So when you put the powder on, you can see each individual curl, and it gives it all that movement that a lot of people with darker hair wish they had. So I almost always, when doing an 18th century hairstyle, I almost always powder it, and it makes it just look a little bit more pretty, rather than
see,
just
this
a
is
big
really
black
nice
ball.
light now. They can really see because like we're behind a cloud. The sun's behind a cloud.
Okay, good.
So here's some fun facts historically. The hair books of the 18th century would caution against powdering without pomading. It would say that it's going to be dangerous to the hair if you don't put your pomade on first. It will dry the hair out. You know, today it's not that we put powder on as like dry shampoo. But historically, you know, there's some interesting things that they say just to make sure that you do everything properly.
But it's also a sales tactic too.
It's also a sales tactic, yeah.
So, I mean, they're telling you to do these things just like our ads of, oh, don't you want to be like this person?
Right.
So yeah, you can see that if you put too much on, you get these kind of streaky bits, and you can brush them out for the most part with the powder puff.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, so I'm still trying to figure out, so is she doing this to go out for the evening, or is this how she's going to wash her hair? I'm still a little bit confused.
This is how you would dress your hair for the week.
Okay.
So you could start, so you would do your immersion bath or wash your hair once a week or whenever you needed to. And after you did that, then you would be ready to do your hair. So even in the 60s and 70s, women would go to the hair salon, have their hair done, and that's how their hair would be for a week.
You're talking about
1970s, yeah. And how you're able to do that is once you get your hair how you want it, you sleep with a silk scarf. And the silk scarves, which I'm sitting on one, this is what they feel like. And you can get silk satin ones, and they feel all nice, but they keep your hair from getting frizzy. If you were to use a cotton one, it's going to grab onto the hair follicle and make it actually move. So when you're sleeping, it doesn't just lay on the hair. But yeah, so you would do your hair up like this in powder and pomade whenever you needed to.
So it would stay powdery looking the whole week.
Yep, and they have colored powders too. So I could actually, I made a black powder a while back out of ink, and I've not used it on my hair quite yet because I don't want to use it in the heat. It's ink, so if it gets hot and I start sweating, it's going to run down.
Oh yeah.
So I want to experiment with that in a very controlled environment. But they were able to get very dark colors and other different colors like pink and blues.
Yep. And they also had colored pomades too. So dyeing your hair was a thing. In the 18th century, orange hair, red hair wasn't very popular. So you could dye your hair, you could bleach your hair. Some of the dye recipes I wouldn't recommend, so that's why we haven't really delved into that. But you know, with any sort of dye, your hair is going to grow out. So you're going to need that touch up on your roots and stuff. So that's what the colored pomades were for, and you could touch them up with the colored pomades. You know, the brown powder, yellow powder, black powder.
So my hair has been powdered, and you can even see that I've got powder all over my eyelashes and powder everywhere. And that's just how it is. I'm working on making a actual powder cape. There's a 1790s one that I want to recreate, but it's a lot of rolled hems, so that'll take a while.
Amber's the queen of rolled hems.
But anywho, so we have done, oh, you're going to have to get the back because I can't see it.
Okay. Patrick
might have to. And then after this, we're going to start to tease it and layer my hair in a way that will actually make it nice and big.
Teasing it is not like what you guys think of, like, I'm sorry, what teasing it, I guess. It's not going to be as drastic.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You can always see the spots you miss.
Huh?
You can always see the spots
I
you
know.
miss. Like,
Because my hair is so dark.
okay. All right, I think we're good.
Okay, so now we have done the powdering of the mop. The under hair we'll do after we get my hair kind of to the degree that it needs to.
Do you want me to braid it so we can get it out of the way?
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so where is...
What do you need?
Oh, I didn't put it in here. I need a brush or a
Oh,
comb.
This one here,
Ah.
or there was a hair comb sitting here, or
There
that
it
one
is.
there, or we
I
have
found
the
it.
brush.
Okay, so this is the scary part. Like I said before, you don't want to pull on the curls because they might come out if they've not set properly. So what I like to do from the beginning is figure out how, like, the top of my hair, how I want it to look. And you can do this afterwards, but I like to get at least my hair out of my way. I have a short forehead, so my hair tends to fall directly into my face. And yeah, so I take these and separate them just a little bit, but not much. Because like I said, if you pull on them, you can see they start to kind of fall out a little bit. But we are just trying to get a lot of fullness. and ridiculousness.
You want me to start pulling apart a little bit?
Yeah, just to separate them. So you can see that when I keep it up, it's going to do exactly what we want and exactly what the
this definitely takes a lot longer than like throwing out a wig.
Right.
But it's worth it. Like, it looks really super cool.
So after I've pulled out some of the curls, this is when I start the teasing process. I don't tease it like you do in the 80s. I do a very slow tease because it is slow tease. It is damaging to your hair, so you don't want to do a ton of it. And that's why having the curls already powdered will help, and that you don't have to hurt your hair as much. So when you're back combing, it literally is just like pulling it a little bit. And I try and get some of those curls in there too, because that's going to just mat everything together. This is not a hair-friendly hairstyle unless you already have really curly hair.
Being attacked.
Okay.
So this back combing, it looks a mess right now, but it will look great in a minute. So now that we have that back comb, you can see we can get some really cool movement and pull these curls forward and do something like that. You can also, if you use, if you use her hair helpers, or you could also use, where's the other one?
I didn't, there. Oh yeah, that was
you can use this as kind of a guide to see how much volume you want, and then just pin it into place. My favorite pins are not historical ones. I only use those if I absolutely have to. I like to use these long roller pins because my hair is slick and it doesn't want to do what I want it to do ever. But you can see, like, that gets a lot of volume, and the rest of the curls just kind of fall through. So I'm gonna do that around, and I look very
it's adorable.
Elaine right now.
It's adorable.
Let's throw back to the 90s.
Very
The 1790s. Ha ha ha. So yeah, do we have any questions so far? Or is anybody asking anything?
People are kind of tuning in and out. And I'm sure once things post and people like get off work and have a second to sit down and watch this. Because yeah, I know with like long videos,
it's hard to tune in for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Barbara's watching.
Hi Barb. This is what we do. Barb is my cousin.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So this is the point where it's all about your own personal style. So in order to get like some of this height, just like Alicia did, you see how my hair is so heavy that it's pulling these curls out down to the bottom. So you can actually just loop it up and pin it as such to get this look. Now, if you had shorter hair, you wouldn't have to worry about this, because last year I think we just took out all the curls, teased it some.
And she teased it, and
it was great.
I mean, look at this, guys. Like, here's one pin, right? I mean, check this out. Like, even in the back, like, this is awesome.
So now we are working toward getting it a little bit bigger this way, and you can use fake hair to like a hair rat, or just a bit of hair that you put in to pad it out.
Do you want me to take that one out?
Huh?
Do you want me to take that one out? The hairpin out, or do you like it?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I like it.
No, but I always start with a little bit of teasing because that will enable it to have a little bit more texture with the powder. Because my hair is slick, it does give it a little bit more texture, so it doesn't fall out as easily. But I need a little bit more oomph because my hair is heavy.
And the pomade does protect. I mean, you're not gonna like go crazy teasing. It's just a little bit, and the pomade will help protect you, protect your hair. So it's just, if you're using your own hair for a hedgehog style, you're gonna need a little bit of back combing or a little bit of teasing. There's just no way around it.
But if you're going into this style, you just need to know those things, and it's not that it's bad. I mean, you decide what you want to do,
right?
Or what's worth it to you. But we really just wanted to show like kind of the whole way of getting your hair to this stage so you can figure out how you want to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need more teasing.
This is so amazing. You guys see how like it's getting bigger and fuller and Barb, you're watching while you're working? While you're at work? That's awesome!
So alright. So yeah, this is where if you had some fake hair, this would be a great place to put it. So you would just put it and pin it here and then pull your hair over top of it so it can get the shape that you want.
So when she's putting her big bobby pins in, which again are not historical, but they do work really well for the hold, she's putting them in and then flipping them around. So you wouldn't put them in straight. You would, here, I'll show you. So if this is, where's, okay, so here's my, so this is the end of the bobby pin. This is the part where it opens. You're gonna put it in and then flip it under. Okay, so that's how you get the good hold out of that.
So, and I also like to use the, this is the part that you should use on the bottom. That makes it to where the top is flat, and also this is designed to catch hair as it goes. So if you have hair in the top of it, it's going to catch it all the way through and pull whatever you're trying to do with it, rather than just sliding in.
That's a good tip. And it looks like it snowed on the toilet. It's kind of how it always looks around here.
It does. We end up just being like a powder.
Yes.
Oh.
So again, she's taking her curls and she's separating them because she wants to get the most curl. She's going to have to back comb a little bit or see how she's doing that. She's bringing them up. Now your powder and your pomade is going to kind of help protect your hair. You're not doing it crazy, like you're just, I don't know how to really explain that. You're
slowly doing it. If you do it the 80s, this 1980s way where you go really, really fast
right.
with the actual teasing comb, which has more teeth on the inside, that actually damages and breaks your hair. So by doing a slow back comb where
with
you actually
huge
go
amounts
like
of
this,
hair, because it's really big pieces.
Right.
That helps too.
You are just combing it back onto itself, so it's holding onto itself instead of falling down.
Right.
It's becoming one big conglomerate.
They're in the cash drawer. No. They are in the toilet. Are there keys in there, Amber? Are
Keys?
Yeah, in the toilet.
This key?
Because that's a good place to put keys, because then we know where they are and we don't lose them. So.
Okay, so this part here on the bottom, it's very long and it's very heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up, I'm going to start here and pull this up underneath so it does an out wide
Wait,
type
show
of
them what
thing.
you're doing again now that I'm up close.
Okay. So I'm grabbing the hairs that are a little bit to here that aren't curled. This part is not curled. Shoving them up in here, and I'm actually going to pin them up into like the underneath of this, and that's going to give me my nice wide.
Do you guys have any questions? You can ask them. It's okay. She's oh, I should probably put focus on her. Sorry guys. She's doing a called a Hedgehog hairstyle. It was very popular in the 1790s.
Oh.
So she's showing us how to do it with historical methods using your own hair, because she has very thick hair that she's able to do that with, where I don't. I have to do a wig.
Yes, I see. Oh wow. That's a lot of teasing.
It is.
There's going to be a lot of getting...
Well, it'll be like this all weekend. So.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty neat. Now, are those your natural curls in your hair?
No, we use these actually. They're just little bits of toilet paper to roll my hair up in.
Oh, wow.
And that's how it got the curl itself, because my hair naturally is not very curly. It's very
Wow.
straight.
And powder and
Wow.
pomade to help get that.
She's an Irish dancer and she has to curl her hair. And
Oh.
we never thought about just
Yeah, you
using
should.
toilet paper.
So how I make them is you take one square of toilet paper and half it, roll it long ways, each half long ways, and then twist it
Oh, wow.
to pull them apart. And
How do you keep them clipped in just with a hairpin?
yep.
Oh.
Yep, it takes a long time, but it looks like a Irish
Yeah.
dance wig. That's
Yeah,
what
it
people
does.
thought I had. when they walked through. So you can see the difference of this, where everything is kind of pinned up, versus this, which hasn't been really messed with.
Right.
And this is definitely more of the shape that you want. And you can pin and use the historical hairpins, which
Do we have?
they're right
do we
in
have
front of
them?
me. So you can take these, which are really nice, and actually grab like large areas of hair and pin them into other large areas of hair.
Those work really well
Ta-da!
for finishing your style,
Right.
for getting that finished look.
For hold, they're not as great. So sometimes I do a little bit of help with the bobby pin. But yeah, so that's what gets this really nice full look.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And then her hair in the back, the part that I have braided, is how long her hair is.
Oh wow.
So that's her hair too. So she sectioned it off and did most of them up and then left that back down, because that's a very popular style to have a very
Oh, was
long
it?
piece.
Oh.
Yeah, so whether you whether that's an addition, a lot of hair pieces were used historically, or your own hair, but Amber's so
Fortunate
cool,
enough.
she gets to keep her own hair.
Very neat.
Kylie says, I've got very thin, straight, long, dark hair. And by thin, I mean it all gets pulled into a penny width ponytail on a regular basis.
Okay.
It doesn't like to curl or stay. Are there any historical styles with powder that you think I could try? Or should I just invest in a wig? I'm so jealous of your volume and how volume you're getting with yours.
Well, in a little bit, Alicia's going to show actually how she gets a hedgehog do that looks very much like this one, using a wig and fading in her own hair to get it to look like that. My hair is fine, but there's a lot of it, and it's very slick, so it doesn't want to curl. And the only ways I've gotten it to curl is using these little toilet paper roll things, in addition with just the tiniest bit of water and the pomade of your choice. As long as it's a hard pomade. I can't use the soft pomades because for some reason my hair just doesn't want to stay. And I
Yeah.
think the hard pomades, they have the wax, so it really does solidify what's going on.
Right.
So so I would encourage you to try using the toilet paper roll method and see if that works for you. And if your hair is thinner, then you'll be fortunate in that it won't take you as long, because
Now, we did it with mine last year.
we did, but it was humid.
And it was humid, and for the most part it was okay. Like, the thing is, Amber's is really big and voluptuous. Mine was not. But we have to remember that not all the paintings that we see have big voluptuous, I'm talking like on top of the hairstyle. As long as you have that width on the sides and a little bit on top, you know, that's okay too. So that's something you want to think about.
Yeah, width is really the key, and that's why teasing is more important, I think, to get your hair to do this, or having a hairpiece underneath that you comb your hair over, or you arrange your hair curls over it, so you actually have that, because this is pretty solid, but it's only because my hair is really long.
Right. Elena asks, historically, did women do their own hair or did they have it done by someone?
There were people that were hairdressers, and there were lots of traveling ladies' maids that would go around to different people's houses and do their hair. That's something that I definitely want to portray in the future, is doing sort of a ladies' maid, you know, that advertises that she can do hair. And that's something that you could start an apprenticeship at a wig maker's or hairdresser's and go get it done. A lot of people, if they did have a shop, they would have it in their own home. So it would be like in their parlor, if it would be somebody who was advertised as a lady's maid and all of these things, or other trades other than hairdressing. So if you were adventurous, you could just do it yourself. It's not like any of the methods were kept secret. People knew how to do it, but if you were affluent enough, you would have a lady's maid that knew how to do it. Or you could go to the hairdresser.
Right. They also had, so we came across this ad, and I always tell people this, but we came across this ad for the hair rolls, where instead of just having the roll stuffed with wool or whatever type of stuffing you want to use, they would have a piece of wire put in there, and the whole advertisement talked about, you know, making it easier for women to do their own hair. So, you know, with these hairstyles, it takes a long time. If you're doing like if you're doing like working like 1760s, 1770s, and like you don't need your big hair, you're just putting on a cap, like all you need to do is really poof that front and put your cap on. But when you're working with hairstyles like this, it does take time. And if you were really great in it, you could do it yourself. If you needed help, there was help out there. Okay, so I'm gonna just swing around while you're working.
Okay. So again, I am just kind of teasing and figuring out what I want my hair to do. I'm using the historical hairpins to arrange my hair, but to hold my hair, I am using bobby pins. And the reason for that is because my hair is long and it's not done in a historical cut. If it was a historical cut, you would curl your hair, tease it a little bit, put some powder in, and it would be how you wanted it.
Right.
So that's why we're using modern bobby pins for this style.
And by historical cut, now this is something that Amber and I have talked about. I wanted to do it.
I was going to.
Every time I chicken out, and I don't know, maybe if we did it at the same time, then we could.
Well, when I cut my hair, because I will bob it at some point.
You're gonna do it?
I think I want to, just to experiment and see how it actually works, which wouldn't be much different from when I had a bob before, and then I just used a hairpiece for my long ponytail.
Right. So basically a historical cut for a hedgehog would be, okay, so like here you have this long piece, right? That would be one cut, and that would be your little long rat tail that sticks out. And then you would have another layer, like here, you'd have another layer here, and your layers would keep going up. And so it'd be really easy to get that extra volume on the sides and up on the top. But when when we have modern haircuts and we don't have that drastic, it's not even like, it's layering, but it's not like how we have ours layered today.
It's very choppy.
It's very choppy. It's like you just sectioned the hair off and took a scissors to it. I mean,
that really is what it looks like.
There's like no finesse there whatsoever.
It doesn't look good if it's not styled.
So Lena wants to know, is this a special occasion going out do, or is this an everyday home do?
Well, any hairstyle that you have that requires powder and pomade, you would want to get as much, sorry, I keep tipping over. You'd want
She's
to get,
like in the rocking chair.
You would want to get as much longevity as possible, and you're not washing your hair every day like we do today. So, how I do it whenever I do my hair in a more elaborate style like this one, I leave it up at least for 3 days.
Yeah.
Because it did take me 2.5 hours just to put it up in order to get these curls, and I think we've sat here for about an hour so far.
Yeah.
Just trying to get it to where it works.
So basically, she's saying that this is an everyday style. If it could be. Yeah. If it was, like, if we were doing something for a special occasion, we would want to make sure that, we would weave ribbons through, or just make sure it was which we could, yeah. Make sure it was very finished, not frizzy. We would just want a very, really nice, elegant style, where sometimes when your everyday stuff is, it's maybe not as, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fussy?
Yeah. Yeah,
for an everyday style, I mean, if your hair was already curled and ready to go when you powder and pomade it, you wouldn't have to do much, but you would sleep. I mean, it would be smart to sleep with some sort of, the wind is coming through.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be smart to sleep with some sort of silk scarf or head wrap in order to keep a lot of your curls from getting flattened and things.
Right.
So.
And there were crisping irons, papillode irons. There were irons, so like if you did have a section that came out, you could easily get it put back in the morning. You just don't want to have to do this every single morning starting from scratch. I mean, that would be ridiculous.
Right.
Pretty soon you'd just be like, let's throw on a cap and just be done.
Right, and soon after this becomes the period of the weird mullet. I flattened that spot. And that's when bangs come into play. My friends and I have speculated that maybe because they were teasing their hair or damaging it with all of this tight curl, that when it finally started to break off, it just kind of caught on that these tiny little bangs of the 1790s were a thing. And then you get very long tendrils that are right here that aren't curled or anything, and they just look kind of gross. So in the future, that's a hairstyle that I would like to do because nobody does it. The weird 1790s rather than the big and glamorous 1790s. So right now I am battling with my hair because this piece here does not want to hold.
Is that your thicker side?
This is the thick side.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, most people have a side that they have more hair on, and then the other side they don't have as much.
And mine is drastic.
So it's sometimes it's really hard when you're styling because, you know, if you have that side that has the more hair on, the more, okay, my English, then you have this really great style, and then on the other side you're like, dude, like, now what do I do? Because
why didn't you do what I wanted it to do?
Yeah, so you have to add hair pieces there, and that's just normal. So if you have more hair on one side than your other side of your head, like, that's cool, that's normal.
Yeah, you can work with it. The good thing about this one is that because you have so many curls, you can kind of hide all of your pins. Because, I mean, if you were to do an x-ray of my head, it would look like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really fun style to do if you have the time to do it. And right now I'm just trying to figure out how I can get these all to stay so we can do the final.
And we were gonna show you guys how the curling irons work, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do that today.
It's
just 'cause
way too windy.
It's way too windy. We will some other time though.
We didn't. I forgot to bring the Sternos heaters to show you guys how, like, modernly you would use it.